When you believe in Jesus and follow him, all of life becomes easy and pleasant, right? No. Welcome to the Rod and the Staff. I'm Tony Myers. Together, let's explore what it means to experience the transforming love and care of Jesus, our Good Shepherd. And then let's also look at what we can do to be joining him in loving and caring for one another. Thanks for joining me. Last session, we looked at provisions of our Good Shepherd for us as his sheep. And they specifically focused around the idea of internal threats, the things that are from within us that threaten our well-being, that we're too busy, that we're too independent. In verses 4 and 5 of Psalm 23, we turn and we look at external threats to our health and our wholeness. We're going to look in verse 4 at circumstances, and in verse 5 at enemies. Marketing slogans are things that become very deeply ingrained in our minds, don't they? Coca-Cola, open happiness. Under Armour, I will. Red Bull gives you wings. And then Adidas, impossible is nothing. An underlying assumption in all of those is that you can do anything. You can create happiness. You can overcome any obstacle. And the idealism is inspiring. It really is. That's why it's marketing. It makes you feel good. If only life were a locker room, right? But real life in the real world has a habit of deflating hope. The reality is that circumstances in life just don't usually work that way. Is happiness really as easy as opening a can of soda? What happens when I will, but it doesn't? You can drink all the Red Bull you want. It will not give you power to rise above many of life's problems. And I need to write a letter to Adidas because I wore the shoes and I never got an NBA contract. That's just going to be impossible. Life is full of trials and hardships and difficulties. That's a fact. There's no HOV lane in life where you get to skip by and avoid all the traffic jams and all the accidents and all the breakdowns and all the things that bother and destroy other people's days. It just doesn't exist. Verse 4 of Psalm 23 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. What we have in that statement is a form of an argument. It's called an argument from greater to lesser. The writer of the psalm is telling us that the greatest circumstantial threat we face, death, has been dealt with. And if God has remedied our greatest external threat, death, then we can have confidence that in all the lesser circumstantial threats of life, that he will help us. Valleys, at the time David wrote this psalm, valleys were dangerous places. They weren't the pretty and quaint and beautiful places like going up to the mountains of Georgia or North Carolina. And you drive in the valleys and that's where the little towns are and the parks and the areas to pull off and just sit and enjoy the cool air of the valley. Now, in David's times, valleys were places of enemies and ambushes. They were dangerous. Passing through a valley felt extremely vulnerable. You felt peril. You would begin to maybe sing to yourself a little diddly, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. You would just feel the oppression of a valley. Everyone's life will have valleys, times and seasons where we are threatened by external circumstances, often beyond our own control. Sometimes of our own making, but usually not. You know, there'll be times in life when you find that your dreams are on the chopping block, when you will feel like your future is fragile, where health will no longer be a certainty, where your business will be tottering, a relationship seems forever broken and lost. Children will be turning their back and walking away from you and from the faith that you brought them up in. We could give innumerable examples of external threats. The number one command in all of Scripture, fittingly, is fear not. More than 300 times in the Scriptures, fear not, be not afraid, do not fear. Psalm 23 gives us a beautiful remedy to this. The fact of life is that Jesus actually promises trouble. Now, there's a form of the gospel out there, health and wealth, prosperity, that says, trust Jesus, follow him, everything will be comfortable, everything will work out, he'll take care of all the problems along the way. But the fact is, Jesus actually promised troubles. In John 16:33, he said, in this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Hope is not found in a trouble-free life. Hope is found in the presence of God and the power of God being with you in the troubles of life, and even in a life that is filled with troubles. The first two words of Psalm 23, verse 4, even though God has taken care, he has vanquished death, he has demonstrated his love for us on the cross. If he has taken care of our greatest enemy, death, will he not then also provide for all the other things that we need? Living life in a valley doesn't mean you took a wrong turn. Living life in a valley is an invitation and an opportunity to learn about God and to learn to trust and lean upon him and to learn of his love for you in new and deeper ways. Even though we walk through the valley of death, we fear not evil, for his rod and his staff, symbols of his shepherding presence, for they are with me.